If you're gearing up for a road trip but get a whiff of a rotten egg smell coming from your exhaust, that's never going to be good, but it's not time to go searching for your lost Easter eggs under your hood, but something much more serious and potentially much more costly. Our own Brian Bowersock from West Escondido Auto is here to tell us what it's likely going wrong with your car if you smell that rotten egg smell.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Now, none of us wants to have that experience of smelling that, but it sounds like Correct. It is something very serious.
Yes, what happens is the catalytic converter can actually give off what's called a sulfur smell, which smells like rotten eggs. It's not the converter usually going bad, though. It's usually a sign that the vehicle's running extremely rich, which is overheating the converter, and it causes it to sulfur and give off that smell, actually.
Now, a lot of people have in the past tried to take off the catalytic converter when something goes wrong with it. Is that a bad idea? Do you really need to replace it?
Number one, it's actually illegal.
Okay.
Because you can't, it's a small component and you're not supposed to remove them. So they have to be replaced with a catalytic converter if you take them off. Number two, newer cars, 96 and newer, we call them OBD2, they actually have 202 sensors in them, one behind the cat, and you can see here.
Okay, so is this a catalytic converter here?
Correct.
Okay.
This is a converter right here. This is the piping that goes to it. It has a front and rear O2 that talk to the computer. And the computer can tell that there's a cat here and whether it's working or not.
Okay.
So it will actually, if you were to remove this and put just a straight pipe in here, it'd have a check engine light on all the time.
And so for people who don't know what a catalytic converter does, kind of explain that briefly.
What a catalytic converter does, it's the last effort in emission systems and your exhaust. It removes everything excess that a perfectly running engine produces. So pretty much what we're looking for is to get to zero numbers, which obviously keeps the air clean.
So how much does it cost to replace this? I know it's a wide range depending on the year of your car.
They can vary. 95 and older cars, anywhere from between $300, $400 parts and labor. 96 and newer, there's no aftermarket available for a lot of them, so they can vary up to $2,800 if you have a 4-cat system that's all built together.
Wow. When we were talking earlier, you mentioned that some people are replacing them when they don't have to. Tell us about that.
Correct. A lot of people will replace catalytic converter when they have a car that fails smog, when it's not always the converter. It's the last thing that should ever be replaced on a car. All the other failures need to be fixed first because they will cause a cat to fail, a car running rich or misfiring. All
right, so up on the screen people are looking at when different aspects of the catalytic converter. I thought one of the things that was the most interesting is that it can last the entire life of your car, up to 200,000 miles.
Correct. If a car is kept in perfect running order and serviced regularly, a catalytic converter can go over 200,000 miles.
And one of the things you had mentioned that it's other things that go wrong with your car, not the catalytic converter that cause it to fail.
Correct. Typically misfires cause that to melt down and fail, car running too rich. Things like that, engine running problems that aren't taken care of will destroy the internals of a catalytic converter. So
is it one of those things then just through regular maintenance you can keep it from failing, you can do things to make it work better?
Correct. You keep your car in good running order. Anytime there's a problem with the way it's running, losing gas mileage, etc., you get it serviced and taken care of, and a cat will last you a very long time.
Any other things that can tip you off that your catalytic converter is going bad besides the bad smell?
The only other things that typically happen that you would notice is if the cat basket inside becomes loose, you get a rattle from the exhaust. Most people notice that right away. It's very annoying when a car's idling at stop, etc., like that.
So one way or the other, you're going to know when your catalytic converter's gone down. It's unmistakable, either the smell or you're going to hear it.
Well, the only other way you know is if they do wear out high mileage and then the emission levels go up and then it's time to replace it on a smog test whenever your car fails.
All right, so take it in right away then if you are smelling something that smells like rotten eggs or you're hearing it rattling.
Correct, because the smell will cause the cat to melt down and you will end up having to replace it unless you get the problem handled correctly.
All right, always good information. Thanks, Brian.
No
and if you have
problem.
a question for Brian you'd like him to answer, just drop him an email. The link is at our website on fox6.com. Just click on Hot Topics.